the United States.
So he wasn't just promoting the United States, but he was in Poland too. He was actually working with King Stanislaus.
Well, later on, yes.
The same type of political thought.
Well, he became a special agent for King Stanislaus II, Stanislaus Augustus Poniatowski, his full name, who was the last king of Poland. He promoted the Polish interests from 1791 until the last and final third partition of Poland in 1795, going between France and Warsaw, the capital of Poland at the time, back and forth. And he was actually made an official citizen of the Polish kingdom. They called it the Commonwealth of Poland and Lithuania by the Polish Diet, the Polish legislature at the time.
Then Poland was partitioned by Russia and Prussia, and after that he got involved in the French Revolution. Could you tell us a little bit about that until the time of the Napoleon overthrow?
Okay, sure. This guy was all over the place, as you might imagine.
Yeah,
I mean, he was all over.
So much to discuss, we want to get everything in.
Okay, well, he, somewhere along the line, he established, he became involved in the French Revolution. And he established a society. He became an officer in it for French Republican ideals. Apparently, things got remember, he was going back and forth between Poland during the revolution, right in the early 1790s, with trying to help the Polish government reform itself before the partition. And after the partition of Poland, 1795, he came back to France, and he was in France during the period of the Directory. The Directory was the government that followed the Reign of Terror from the late 1795 to 99. He worked for the Directory, the Directorat, they called it, and he continued collaborating with the French government until Napoleon Bonaparte overthrew the Directorate in 1800, but the end of the 1799, 1800. At that point, when Napoleon took over, he left France and he went back to Italy, to Pisa, where he spent the rest of his life.
Now, there was some writings that indicated that there was some kind of a falling out between MAZZEI and Jefferson regarding a letter. Could you give us a little bit of insight on that?
Well, okay. This is something, it's in dispute among biographers and historians as to exactly what happened. What we do know is that sometime in the period in the late 1790s, Thomas Jefferson wrote a letter to Philip MAZZEI. He didn't write it in English, he wrote it in Italian. Remember, Jefferson was very good in Italian. When MAZZEI was in Italy, it was sent to MAZZEI in Italy. And in the letter, Jefferson criticized the presidential administration of George Washington in pretty harsh terms, comparing it to the Anglican monarchical aristocratic establishment in England. Like Washington and his administration were trying to replicate the British government, which had been overthrown. And somehow or other, this letter got published in Europe, and then it was translated into English by Noah Webster, the guy who made the first dictionary, Webster's Dictionary, and published in America, and this led to this so-called falling out. That's all I can say about this.
So that letter probably had nothing to do with his desire to have the relationship terminated. It was something that someone got that information and kind of leaked it, so to speak.
That had nothing to do with it. No. Jefferson had a very, very close collaborative personal relationship with MAZZEI till MAZZEI's death, and he wrote a very nice letter to someone else right after MAZZEI died, praising MAZZEI very highly, just saying he had some idiosyncrasies like we all do, but he was honorable, he was respectable. He had great admiration for MAZZEI. It was a mutual admiration, and this letter had absolutely nothing to do. It was a matter that just got published. It doesn't reflect at all upon the Jefferson-MAZZEI relationship.
Okay, so what we come to the conclusion is that he's a very multifaceted individual, very dynamic, very intellectual, and his ideas had a lot of impact on not only the United States but Europe too. And is there anything in summary, because we're kind of running out of time here, that you'd just like to say about what surprised you about your research? What was some of the facts that kind of jumped out at you, and something that you learned?
Well, I was very favorably impressed by my research on Philip MAZZEI. He came out to me as a very more important figure than historical figure in the founding years of this country than I had imagined him to be. He was a cosmopolitan, urbane, intellectual. He's called in books that have been published about him a citizen of the world, so to speak. He was comfortable in at least three languages: English, French, Italian. He traveled all over Europe. He knew many important people. Most of the people that founded this country he knew personally, as well as many famous French people, French intellectuals, La Rochefoucauld, Condorcet, many important people. Lafayette, he has a correspondence with. You name them, he knew them. This man was a remarkable historical figure. And I would say, just before closing that, I am well indebted to a book called Philip MAZZEI, Jefferson's Zealous Whig, which was translated and edited by Sister Margarita Marchione and published in the 1970s. And she's done several other important works on MAZZEI. She's probably one of the leading MAZZEI scholars in America. And the citation on Jefferson's rights of man and all was put into A Nation of Immigrants by John F. Kennedy. And there was a special congressional acknowledgement of this back in 1984 that he contributed this idea about all men created equal. So that's about all I could say about it.
Ted Misano, thank you very much for your contribution to the Historic Insight, and it's a biography that I think a lot of people would benefit by exploring further, and we appreciate your insight and knowledge. This is Jerry Shanklapour for Historic Insight. Thank you for watching.